In this video, we'll cover timing tops and swing trading. And that's going to go a little bit against the grain because if you've read any trading book or talked to any trader, basically they say you can't time bottoms or tops. And I guess I would agree on the bottoms, but more times than not, I'm able to time tops. And mainly because I'm able to trade full time. So if you're not able to trade full time and watch charts and watch them unfold, I will agree it is hard to time tops. But if you're trading full time or if you're able to watch the market quite a bit, you can have the ability to time tops and to really maximize your profit. In this video, I'll share with you a trade that I shared in my Discord group on ZRX. And if you're not a member of the Discord group, you'll see a link down below. It's free to join. I share my thoughts on the crypto market, outlook on Bitcoin, Ethereum, also my trades, and any other questions on trading as well. So definitely join that. So in this example, what I'll share here is how I went about timing the top. And I'll just share the trade example and how it unfolded. I won't really share why I entered this trade or anything else like that. I'll also mention here that this will be more of an advanced video. I won't go into a lot of the details that I'm covering in this video, mainly because that's all of my training and some stuff here on YouTube as well. So I'm just going to go through at a really high level to give context to how I went about this and how I informed understanding where I should be watching for the top. And with my swing trades, what I typically target is anywhere from 15 to 30%. On this trade on aggregate, my aggregate position was 28% of profit. The other thing is that I'm in this position again. So I actually sold basically at the top and I re-entered on the pullback looking for another swing trade as well. Now you might be wondering, if all this, why didn't you just stay in the trade? Well, I'll share exactly what I did here. I basically, and just at a high level, I entered down here. I did have a few positions down here in this actual consolidation, but I entered down here and then I entered a few more positions here. And then what I did is I sold at the top. And then the first pullback that I saw that actually gained strength, which was here, right here in this area here, I took the full capital that I actually made from this trade. So the original positions and the 30% that I made, or the 28% I should say, and I started entering positions here. So I just basically, you could say that why didn't I just keep it in? Well, I took more capital at a lower level here, which was basically, let's see what the actual range was. Sold up here, basically 15%. So I have an additional 15% of capital that's in another swing trade that I'm still in this trade because the chart is still holding up as it should. Now I do have a trailing stop loss on this just because I'm a little unsure where the market is, and where I would get out of this trade is my trailing stop is right around this value channel area right here. So that's where my trailing stop is. So regardless of what happens, I'll be out of this trade on a trailing stop, or I'll move it up if I see strength in it and it actually gets above this key area here and this key blue line that you see here. So that's the high level overview. Let's talk about what I saw and how I actually timed the top here. And like I said, this will be an advanced video. So the first thing that I did is, you see on the daily, if I go to the daily, I have value channels on here. So I have value channels. They've been drawn for ZRX for a few months. So I've been trading off this same value channel. It's held up very well on the last couple months. So we see a bottom here. We see some consolidation. The next thing that I did is, and if we go actually here, is that you'll see all these blue lines. These blue lines, or these blue arrows here, those blue arrows are various measured moves. So these blue arrows are measured moves. And one thing I want to really point out here, and if you've watched the latest training video that I have, this will really highlight an advanced strategy around measured moves. So we see that there's measured moves here. We also see that there's a value channel line here. So these blue lines here, or these blue arrows, these are all measured moves. Recent measure moves. And they're all consolidating right around this area. What else do we see here? We see a value channel line. So there's a value channel line. Now this blue line here is a key inflection point that has been drawn as well. The other thing that is very important is that it's right around a key Satoshi level, which is 1100. So you'll see this is right around the 1100 Satoshi level. So I mention all this because this, as I was doing this trade and as I entered this trade and as it was unfolding here in these hours here, I was putting these arrows of the measured moves. I already had my value channel here. I already had the key inflection point here. And I knew, I can't say I did know. I knew that this area here, right here, is where I have to sell in this whole area. Another thing I should mention is at the scale that I'm selling, I think one of these 5-minute candles I actually caused the decline because I have to sell into strength. A lot of the sizes that I'm trading at now, and this is a new learning experience for me the last 3 months, is that I really have to sell into strength because I have to have liquidity to sell at a price that I want. So I've got to sell when there's strength hitting the market. Otherwise, I could cause key support levels sometimes on some things, not everything. I'm not trading at that size on everything, but on some things I'm trading at a size where I have to really be mindful of not selling and breaking support if I want to unload my full position. So so if we go back here, the measured moves are all aligning here. There's one measured move that's perfectly aligning right with a value channel. That's another thing to keep in mind. So I knew all that going in. So as price was approaching this, I was waiting for a move with strength to this level. And this is where I drop down to lower time frames. I typically start at the 15-minute, so I'm on the 15-minute. And then I have on the exchange, I have the 5-minute or the 1-minute open, and I'm watching the order book. And this is when I'm able to trade in front of the computer here and actually maximize a profit. And keep in mind, the title of this video is timing the top. So I know, based on everything I shared so far, that this whole area right here is where I want to sell. Because I have a series of things that has told me that it's going to hit resistance, that based on chart patterns, that it's making the most logical probability upward move that it typically makes. The other thing that I have on this side as well is just reading charts, is just straight up price action. So as price was approaching here, like I said, I was fortunate to be able to trade in front of my computer at this point in time. I'm watching the 15-minute and then the 5-minute. And this is where it really helps when you're watching this to just be able to understand true price action and true structure of the market. Because if we look at the true structure of the market here on the 5-minute, you're going to see something very obvious. So first up, you'll see that this move here was a move of strength, and then it hit exhaustion, so it got rejection. Now this was above all of the measured moves, above this value channel, and above this key inflection point. And then we see a actual rejection here. If we actually draw a sub-channel line here, I feel like I should be explaining all this, but like I said, this is a advanced video. It did not reach the actual 25% of the next sub-channel. So it was not able to get there. But if we actually cut this in half, we'll see that it got rejected just above the half mark. So right around the 12.5 mark of this value channel. So we see a key area that got rejected. And this is where I sold my first position. So I sold my first position. And then I sold an additional one here. And then I think I caused this sell-off here because I dumped pretty much the majority of my position right here. So the majority of my position was dumped here. And I was given it an opportunity to potentially find strength. And this is where, just reading straight up price action, it was clear that I should have sold, and I did. I sold whatever I had left right here in this candle. The second, we'll see here, and let me just walk through this so that this is how you time the top. First of all, if you want to completely time the top, you would have sold all of it here because it passed every indicator that you had. It passed your value channel, it passed your inflection point, it passed your measured moves, it passed all of that. Unless there's super exuberance and you see it in the chart, which I did not see, or in the order book, I should say, unless you see super exuberance, there is no reason to believe that it's going to continue. So I could have been okay just selling this, but I wanted to give it a little bit of an opportunity with some position left in case it did move. But the second, and let's just walk through this. Rejected here at the high. The sellers took control, and then the buyers tried to step up, but they could not reach anything that closed above this range here. They couldn't close anything above this value channel. See, it's getting rejected. This is why I use value channels once again. And then here, it reached a consolidation phase, and you might be saying, okay, great. In this consolidation phase, you'd think, okay, it's going to consolidate, and then the best case is it's going to move up, and it's going to move past this value channel with strength. That's not what we see. We see a big move down. The second that you see this big move down like this, and no reaction to the buyers, remember, you have to wait for candles to close. No reaction to the buyers, that should have been an indication to get out right there. That's your indication right there to get out. As soon as this whole structure that you see here, this whole structure broke down, and all these other indicators that you have, you should have got out. That's really the key. That's how you time these tops, is that you look at, when you get to a top where these things align, you look at confirmation of price action in conjunction with volume that backs up price action. But really, any average or new beginning chartist should be able to see. I mean, we can just draw a trend line on here. And you can just draw a trend line and just say the trend line. Let's draw an upward trend line. That trend line was broke here. This upward trend line here. If we just draw simple trend lines. So the trend line was broke here, and then it was confirmed once it didn't reach here, and then the upward trend line never got retested. So just with simple trend lines, I see trend lines and stuff like this in my head, so I don't draw these on charts like this, but I see this, and I can just see this chart pattern that instantly this is a sign that everything is broken down. It's going to lose value from there at a high probability is the way to look at it. This becomes even more apparent when you look at the 15-minute. 15-minute is even more clear. So if I just remove this position. So we go here. The 15-minute is even more clear. Because here, there's a potential minor flag pattern here that breaks down completely. So we see rejection. We see rejection. See rejection. The buyers try and never really close above. They just barely touch that value channel and then get rejected every single time. And nothing ever closes above this close here or this close here. And then you see the decline and the breakdown. There's not much more I can add to this other than what I did thereafter. Is I was watching for consolidation to hit, and where was I watching consolidation? Well, if you followed my channel or in my training, you know I'm looking for, there's a value channel line right here. Here's a 75% line, and here's a 50%. It never reached that 50%. Okay, so there's my first confirmation. That was great. Here's my second confirmation. There is a higher high here, or higher low, higher low, higher low, a retest of the 75. That's where I entered. So I retested. I entered here as well. So I've entered in this range here. In this whole range, I'm currently in this position, and I'm looking for another quick scalp. Now what I'll be doing is I'll remove some of these measured moves because these measured moves are no longer valid. Some of them are no longer valid. And then I'll create new measured moves and I'll create new areas of interest, and then that will be my exit. Keep in mind with this actual entry, because it's moved so much. The other thing on this too, if we go to the daily chart and we look at the daily, and I remove everything here, the daily is not showing strength, it's showing potential pullback. So that's why when I look at the daily chart and I plan a trade based on daily swings, I look at this and say I really want to have a trailing stop, because unless some exuberance hits this ZRX, something happens, some kind of news or something else, then there's a higher likelihood that there's going to be a pullback here. It might retest a little bit more higher, but there's a higher likelihood it's probably going to hit, and most likely what it's going to do, it's going to hit this resistance point right here of these two closes here, and it's going to just fall from there and have a 1 or 2 day fallback consolidation retracement period. That's really what I'm looking for. So I'm really in this for a short-term trade. The second that I see it breaking down on a lower time frame, I might exit, I should say, or I might just move up my trailing stop. So once again, if you're in my Discord group, I'll share when I do that or what I'm seeing and how this trade is unfolding. But I wanted to do a video here on YouTube, at least, of sharing some advanced concepts, and just because a lot of times what I'm doing is I'm just sharing one concept or one idea. And I wanted to share here, and I didn't even cover a lot of the other things like moving averages and other things that go into this trade. You'll see on this chart, this moving average here, I'm watching that closely, which is the 24. So it's following the 24 moving average really nice. The other thing that I'd be looking for for a confirmation of a downtrend is, does it break this 24 moving average, and then does it retest it to the upside, or does it continue to use it as support as it moves on an uptrend? So that's the other thing that I'd be looking for. But I just share that just because I wanted to share a lot of things in full context, more like an overview of how these things all combine, how these things all come together. And I'll be doing more videos like this as we move forward, which is, I have a lot of concepts out there that I share that's in the training. It's all simplistic stuff. It's all, one thing I should mention is that nothing in here, you don't see any fancy indicators. You don't see anything beyond just things that are simplistic, easy to read, easy to understand, and easy to decipher to do swing trades like this. I can't stress that enough. I've dove into all the indicators. I've really tried to like some indicators. And what I found is they cloud the only thing that matters, which is price action, and the actions of the actual market participants. And then a TA framework, which I believe is value channels, moving averages, measured moves, price action reading, backed up by volume, all of that. That to me is all you really need. So I mention that just because if you're struggling at all with trading, and you're looking at indicator after indicator or other things, raw charts with just the only indicator is a moving average indicator. That's the only other indicator. Another indicator that might be helpful is the multi-time frame indicator that shows you the actual closes of the days and the opens. And we see here, this is very obvious so far. These green lines or these green boxes are the actual daily highs and lows. And we see this day today, the highest it got today was the previous high of the previous day. So just looking at that, just knowing that information will give you more insight into a key area it has to break through. So right now, this is going to be a key area in addition to all the other value channels that I need to watch for it to break through, because it's already hit resistance on a key high from a previous day. So I did say that I was going to end the video, but I keep going on here. But I mentioned that just because if you're struggling at all with trading, first up, check out my training. It's foundational. It really teaches you to fish. Number 2 is start with raw naked charts. Start there, master that. And then if you need additional information that you can't glean from raw charts, reading just price action, volume, and moving averages, combined with either value channels or Fibonacci, Gann lines, or something else like that, then maybe add an indicator. But if you're struggling at all, the best way to get started is start raw, and then as you need to add indicators, add indicators. That's one piece of advice I would give to someone that's struggling. I always like to be a little bit more helpful if I can in these videos. So that's all. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Down below, you'll see links to various tools that I use and links to the Discord group. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.